Welcome to Season 5 of the Agile Brand with Greg Kilstrom, where we talk with enterprise and technology platform leaders about the people, processes, and platforms that make marketing and customer experience successful, scalable, and sustainable. This is what creates an Agile brand. I'm your host, Greg Kilstrom, advisor and consultant for Fortune 1000 marketing and CX leaders and teams as principal and chief strategist at GK5A, and best-selling author, keynote speaker, entrepreneur, and Agile certified coach. The Agile Brand podcast is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. For more information, go to teksystems.com. To sign up for the Agile Brand newsletter and get the latest insights and articles on marketing technology and CX, or to purchase a copy of my latest book, House of the Customer, go to gregkilstrom.com. You can also find all my books on Amazon and other retailers. And now on to the show. Customers demand a more personalized experience across multiple channels and devices, yet brands can often struggle to deliver it at scale while ensuring they keep customer data secure. Today, we're going to talk about how to create and deliver tomorrow's digital customer experience using first-party data, personalized experiences, and multi-channel communications. To help me discuss this topic, I'd like to welcome Adeline Ashley, Director of Customer Engagement at Sitecore. Adeline, welcome to the show.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for having me here. This is really exciting.
Yeah, looking forward to talking about this with you. Why don't we get started by you giving a little background on yourself and what you're currently doing at Sitecore?
Oh, I'd love to. So, I'm the Director of Customer Engagement at Sitecore. I'm leading the healthcare and energy verticals. I spend my time helping customers with their digital transformation. I provide industry perspective by bringing insights and trends, and I also lead inspiration workshops and sit shoulder to shoulder with key customers to create a joint business roadmap that accelerates their digital strategy and vision. Prior to that, I spent the last few years as the digital director strategy and innovation at ProMedica, where I led the digital transformation initiative and selected Sitecore's XP platform. I also worked with Anthem and Southern California Edison, leveraging data analytics and content strategies for massive web redesigns to improve the customer experience and personalization. I also am a serial entrepreneur. I've launched a gourmet foods company, a gift service business, and an award winning party planning site. So I've done a lot of stuff.
Nice. That's great. Wonderful. Well, yeah, looking forward to talking about this topic with you. First-party data strategies are becoming increasingly important as third-party cookies, mobile device tracking, and consumer data privacy regulations continue to impact brands and their ability to reach customers. Why is it so important to start working on a first-party data strategy if you haven't already?
Well, one of the most valuable types of data a brand controls is the first party consumer information. It really enables you to develop more targeted marketing that develops close bonds with your target market. It also improves the strength of your brand and the effectiveness of your company's operations. So, good data is king when attempting to target customers. Getting your own first party data from numerous different customer touchpoints is the most important thing you can do right now.
What's your recommendation to get started then? Where should you focus your efforts if you don't currently have a strong first-party data strategy in place?
Well, you really need to create a single customer view, like a 360 view of your customer. And you need to be able to combine all of your data under one umbrella, typically using a customer data platform that's called a CDP. And that's really where you need to start, in my opinion. And it's important because if you do that, you can reduce your costs to gather that customer data. And also, it helps to personalize the customer experience. So, figuring out what you can do to collect that data in one place.
Great. So there's a lot of talk about the value and the benefits of personalization. Certainly, first-party data and a data strategy enables that. Personalization, though, takes a combination of a lot of factors to be successful. So what are some of the key components from your experience that combine together to create a great personalized digital experience?
So I think you need to have a business objectives and define that. So you want to make sure that you have good goals in place and that they're clearly defined. So you can use things like think about how do you use marketing automation as a business objective, or analyzing specific customer behaviors, or even optimizing customer experiences based on the profiles that you've collected from the data points.
Yeah.
I would also think that you should look at your target audience and segments and data sources. So if you understand what your goals are with the first party data strategy, and you've identified how the audience segments align, then you can start looking at the behaviors of the customers
Yeah.
and start applying the learnings to your overall goals. So, basically, you're developing a buyer persona set to match up with your goals. And some of the places that you can find these things are through the website, obviously. Look at your emails, gather data from there, how newsletter signups are going, maybe mobile apps, and then mapping out the customer journey.
Yeah.
That's another key area as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Before we continue, I'd like to introduce you to a sponsor of the show, Basecamp. Throughout my career, whether it was at my own agency or now as a consultant, Basecamp is what we rely on to help keep projects on track, on schedule, and on budget. It takes a straightforward approach to project management. It streamlines workflow management and definitely keeps the team in the loop and on top of ongoing updates, which all are major components in a smooth running operation. No matter if it's a simple campaign or a multi-million-dollar project, Basecamp has been a key ingredient in the recipe for a successful project and business. Go to basecamp.com/agile and sign up today to start a free 30-day trial. There's no credit card required, and you can cancel online at any time. If you want to know if Basecamp is right for your team, signing up for a trial is the best way to do so. Remember to go to basecamp.com/agile. That's basecamp.com/AGILE to get your free trial. Thank you, Basecamp, for sponsoring this episode. Now let's get back to the show. Are there any areas where brands often get stuck when they're trying to do personalization well?
Yeah, they are. The challenges are data. If the personalization module is an engine, then customer data is like the fuel.
Yeah.
And just like that, an engine can't run on an empty fuel tank, and bad fuel can damage the engine. So the lack of data and bad quality data can impede your personalization efforts. So that's one thing. There's a report from Forbes Insights, and it says that 48% of marketers cite data quality as a leading roadblock to effective personalization. So bad data is outdated, irrelevant, and incorrect, and will definitely lead to bad personalization.
Yeah, that's good. Do you have to start with every channel, or what some may refer to as omnichannel, or can you get started with personalization kind of one channel at a time?
Well, it's important to think about omni-channel and develop a strategy if that's the end goal, and it really should be an end goal. But before we can go there, we really need to understand the difference between omni-channel and multi-channel.
Hmm.
So, multi-channel is when a brand engages with its customers through multiple channels, but it's really in isolation from one another. Omnichannel, on the other hand, is about interconnected and interactive channels that encourage maximum level of customer engagement with the brand. So with an omni-channel personalization strategy, it's really about delighting the customer with extra care and attention to detail regarding their wants and needs. But this really requires strategy, people, process, and tools like a CDP.
Along those lines, consumers are increasingly channel switching, or they're moving between devices, channels, platforms throughout their buying journey. They may be on their mobile phone, then go to their laptop and back, and then walk into a brick and mortar retail store and things like that. So, the solution to this is to get that consistent experience that you mentioned, whether it's multi-channel, omni-channel, or some step towards that. Though, that certainly has its own set of challenges. So, from your experience, is omni-channel, every channel being consistent and having that personalized experience, is omni-channel experience realistic? And where should brands start thinking about moving towards omni-channel?
Well, like I said, omnichannel really requires looking at a customer from a 360-degree viewpoint. And the only way that you can really do that is to start with a customer data platform because they'll be this thing will be collecting data from the first and second, third party sources and unifying it into a single view for each customer. So it's not fragmented or you won't have duplicate customer profiles.
Yeah,
So that's really important to do is to start that way.
yeah, yeah. So last topic here. A lot of us that have been around since the early days of the web, we kind of take for granted that a lot of traffic is coming to a brand's website from search. People Googling a brand name or a product name or something like that. But not all generations are using the web the same these days, which means there's a lot of people coming to brand websites from places like TikTok or Snapchat or even other social media properties, and so their entry point isn't a branded search or something like that. How do you approach a digital experience when entry points other than Google become more and more common, particularly with certain generations?
That's a great question, Greg. So I think you really need to be ready for the micro moments and, making sure that you're ready for I need to know what to do or I need to go somewhere, having that content readily available and making those anticipated moves. So, like if you need to know how to do something, then create a video and post that up in TikTok or have really cool images that inspire you on Instagram so that that's readily available or making sure that your profiles like your address and your location and your reviews are all up to date when somebody's trying to find a place like an urgent care, for example, making sure that information is up to date and your reputation is there. Those micro moments happen all the time. We're easily busy.
Yeah.
I can give you a really good example. I was having my hair done, and I had a list of things to do, and I happened to pick up a magazine because I was waiting under the dryer. And as I was flipping through the pages, I saw an ad that was for Allegra. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I went had a squirrel moment and said, yeah, that was on my list of things to do. And there was a QR code right then and there. And of course, I have my phone with me. And I took a picture of that, and it led me to places where I could go pick up the Allegra and that it was on sale. And Target happened to be right there as one of my choices. And it was on my way home. So that is an example of a micro moment, right? I was not even, in that frame of mind, but something stirred me, that ad stirred me. And Allegra was smart to have a QR code readily available for me to take a picture. And that QR code was smart enough with the information that was useful for me to say, oh, yeah, and it's available at Target and it's at this price point, and you can pick it up on your way home from your, my hair appointment.
Yeah.
So being ready like that, I mean, that wasn't a Google search. That was me
Right.
being in my own moment.
Yeah, yeah, that's really interesting, and you touch on several, even to the brick and mortar retail that you had to walk into to pick up the product. So that's a really interesting combination of things, and I think it talks about the power of at least multi-channel, which is anticipating. Okay, there's a location search in there. There's a social media interaction. There's an in-person interaction
Hmm.
and all that stuff, kind of combined. So yeah, definitely illustrates the power of that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, this has been great, Adeline. Really appreciate you joining the show. One last question before we wrap up here, though. You gave a lot of great advice already as far as some ways to start thinking about this stuff. But what's one maybe final piece of advice that you would have for brands that need to better understand their customers so they can personalize the customer experience as they navigate the months ahead?
Well, I really think it's about focusing on creating good experiences. People have a frame of reference on what a good digital experience looks like. So you think about Netflix, Airbnb, Uber, and those brands have created an experience that delight people already today. So your brand needs to be able to deliver similar, if not better experiences to stand out and to build that customer loyalty. That would be my advice is focus on the experience because we're living in the experience economy.
Yeah, that's great. And I do think that's often brands will, there's teams within brands. I mean, I work with a lot of large organizations where, very siloed, and one team is they're only thinking about, let's say, the email marketing and email communications versus what's going on with other channels. So, that example that you gave earlier, that doesn't work well unless everything is working together and passing data between each other and everything like that. So yeah, definitely agree with you there. And yeah, really appreciate you talking with me today. And again, I'd like to thank Adeline Ashley, Director of Customer Engagement at Sitecore, for joining the show. You can learn more about Adeline and Sitecore by following the links in the show notes. Talk with you next week. Thanks again for listening to the Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom podcast, brought to you by Tech Systems. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to subscribe on your podcast channel of choice and leave us a rating so that others can find the show more easily. You can access more episodes of the show at www.gregkihlstrom.com. That's GregKihlstrom.com. To get a copy of my latest book, House of the Customer, visit my website, or you can find it on Amazon or other retailers. The Agile Brand is produced by Missing Link, a Latina-owned, strategy-driven, creatively fueled production co-op. From ideation to creation, they craft human connections through intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Until next time, stay agile.